What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Breaker Bros. Tonight, we're going to predict Bengals versus Vikings score, and I guess review what's up to come. I guess, first of all, Joe Burrow, he had his surgery this morning. I guess everything went well. So, hopefully.
As well as that can go, right? I mean, who knows? I
feel
like if it went poorly, they wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, I don't know. I get mixed signals. It doesn't feel like he'll actually come back. I feel like the only plausible way he can come back,
or this season.
This season.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure how the injury is in terms of rehab, but it feels like with the grade 3 tear, I just feel like it's going to take a little bit longer to get that strength back in his foot to feel comfortable enough to at least move around in the pocket. But I mean, a lot can change by then. Hopefully the offensive line will start to protect a little bit better, more consistently. But we kind of talked about it the last episode we had. It felt like whenever Browning came in, the offense opened up a little bit more. And it almost seemed like because they simplified the game plan and really it was just getting their best players in space with the ball. It's like,
that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's like you don't really have to overthink it. I mean, you still have to be creative and find different ways, but just get them the ball with space and they'll figure it out because, Chase had that big, catch and run. They did that little screen. I know they tried it twice, but the first time it had a pretty good result. And then he basically ran over two guys getting the ball and ran for a touchdown. So,
yeah,
hopefully that opens things up. But I guess getting back to this week against the Vikings, are the Vikings 0-2?
I
think they are.
To PFF, I think they are 1-1. Is that right? Yeah, they're 1-1 and 1-1 against the spread.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, how are the Bengals? Are they 1-1 against the spread?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what that counts for.
Well, because I think against the Browns, I think they had a 3-point advantage. Or I guess a 3-point spread. But the Vikings are not as strong as what I thought they would be at this point of the year. I know it's early, obviously, but I thought maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's injuries, right?
Oh, are they having a lot of injuries?
Yeah, I mean, they've got quite a few guys hurt.
Were they hurt for the whole the beginning of the year, or did they just get hurt?
I don't know off the top of my head, like when they started to get hurt and how long they're out. But look at the guys that are out for the Browns. You got center. You got Aaron Jones out, linebacker out, their quarterback's out, and their tackle's out.
I think their starting left tackle came back, so I know that's positive news for them. And I know Shamar Stewart's out. And then I guess Cam Taylor-Britt might not play.
Doubtful, it says.
I think he was limited today in practice, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm not the best source of information. I'm literally just reading off the screen here. So, injuries have happened and are going to happen.
Well, that's part of the NFL season is managing your injuries, and hopefully you don't have too many injuries at once because the Bengals kind of experienced that last year, and I think that's part of the reason why they started the year with so many defensive linemen. It's like they had PTSD from last year, and they didn't want to be short.
No, I wish they would have done that with offensive linemen. I guess they sort of did with offensive linemen as well.
Yeah, but according to PFF, I think the defensive grades are actually pretty solid.
Well, we could look at that. How about we do that? I think this one is Bengals defense. So, yeah. Defense looks good.
Can you show the overall grade?
Don't know how to do. What do you mean?
I thought that can't you just see like their overall grade for defense?
I think that's on the other page.
Oh, okay. The first one.
Their overall defense is 15th.
Yeah, that's kind of where everyone kind of hoped they would be. And again, this is PFF grading, so take that however you want to take it. But
I take it for what it is.
well, I mean, they've shown at the very least that they're opportunistic, so they're getting turnovers consistently. And that last game, kind of like rewatching the game, they should have had 5 interceptions.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, the 2 that they
argument
got
could be
were pretty.
made that the Bengals are 2-0 because their defense.
Yeah,
Certainly game 1, defense won that game. The offense didn't do much. And then, I guess the last game more of a team effort, but
I'm actually surprised that the Bengals aren't blitzing that much because I think from what I saw, they don't really blitz as much. I'm guessing it's pretty similar to last year.
mm-hmm.
But I felt like with Al Golden coming in, because I thought that's what he was kind of known for, especially in college, is having all these blitzes and creating a lot of pressures. But I would assume that will probably ramp up as things continue to move along throughout the season. Because to me, that's I guess the silver lining is that I feel like the defense can continue to get better throughout the year. Now the offense, it feels like they always kind of start off slow at the beginning of the year for whatever reason, but hopefully they pick it back up. Because I mean, when Browning came in, he was moving the ball, but then he would just throw it to the other team.
Yeah, he would do good until he would throw the interception.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like they would shoot themselves in the foot, and then they would come right back with a touchdown. And to be fair, I mean, that last drive that they had was because they had to convert a 4th down. I think it was like 4th and 3, or maybe it was like 4th and 5. But that last drive, I think it was like a 90-yard drive to win the game. So that was pretty good. Yeah, I guess Darisaw's back.
Yeah, looks like their offensive line is pretty good. I mean, their tackles are good. I mean, O'Neal, don't know much about him, but they have him ranked as the 2nd best tackle this year. And he was good last year as well. Sheesh.
Yeah, it looks like their guards might be a little suspect, but
well, define suspect.
I'm just getting most of my information from Bengals Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I got defense on both. Let's see, we'll put Bengals offense in. I mean, suspect relative to the Bengals guards?
Well, the Bengals offensive line hasn't done that great so far this year either, so
yeah.
We're, I guess, just as suspect on our offensive line, but we definitely have more firepower when it comes to offensive weapons, so I think that can overcompensate a lot of different areas. I mean, they just got to get back to what they do best, and that's just getting the ball out quick, and again, trying to get the playmakers with the ball in space and let them do their thing, and every now and then take that shot with T or Chase down the field, just to kind of open things up. And then really they got to figure out the run blocking, because I think if anything that's holding the Bengals offense back, it's probably the rushing attack. It just seems like, or I think Chase Brown, he has like maybe 2 yards per carry or something like that so far for the year.
That's not good.
No, but it's just the blocking hasn't been that great. But I think that kind of leads back to maybe the play calling be a little bit too predictable or something. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I feel like maybe they were onto something with Lucas Patrick. He seemed like a good run blocker.
Yeah, hindsight, maybe he really wasn't that bad. That I think that was the trade off is that Reisner is the better pass blocker, but um,
Yeah.
Patrick is a better run blocker for sure.
Yeah, Reisner's grades so far this year are not great. So they have him pass block 51.5, run block 43.7.
Which is kind of crazy because
He was
he
much
should,
better last year.
yeah, for sure. I mean, just overall in his career, I mean, he typically does better. So
Yeah, but I mean, he did kind of show up late to camp, so I figure there's got to be some ramp up period. And then Fairchild seems to be doing about what we could expect, right? Decent pass blocking, not so much in the run blocking.
yeah, I mean, outside of the grades, as far as giving up pressures, I don't think. Well, he definitely hasn't given up a sack, and I don't think he really has given up that many pressures either.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mims had a tough game last week. I think partly because he got hurt at one point,
Yeah.
but he seems to still struggle. Um, like whenever the edge does like a inside move, like with speed, I've noticed on some of the plays like he was kind of slow to get over to even like touch the guy, and they got right past. I've seen it on a few plays, but I don't know. I still feel like his grade should be better than that.
Well, we're going to have to start our own grading system then. Do like a curve on top of the PFF grades. Give all the Bengals a little bonus points for being Bengals.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing though. The thing with PFF, or at least I am assuming, is that they're at least consistent with grading between players. So
How would we know?
I mean, that's true. You would think that they're going to be consistent. I guess there's no
We're
way for us to
trusting them to
know.
be consistent, but at the same time, we could probably do better.
Well, I mean, we just don't know like what they're being taught or what they're told to do in certain situations. So some of it
Mhm.
is guesstimating, right?
Yeah, we would never do that.
Uh, no, I mean, I like PFF in the sense that it's maybe it's like a good baseline, um, just to have an idea, but I don't think it's like 100%, I guess, truth or whatever.
To me, I treat it as if it's the gold standard.
Huh.
I just go by what it says blindly. And based off of PFF, it seems like the defensive line for the Vikings maybe not as scary as the previous two defensive lines the Bengals have played. So maybe they can, get the quick pass game going, maybe get a little bit of the run game going.
Yeah, I would like them to maybe focus on the run a little bit, just to get something going, just to have some like positive plays that go for over 10 yards or so, just to get something going.
And I'd like to see maybe the Bengals work in the other slot receiver.
Oh, Tinsley.
Yeah, I like Tinsley. He's he's made a lot of plays. Like he did in the preseason, you're like that was a crazy game against the Commanders. Like maybe that was just a revenge game kind of thing. But then his first catch for the Bengals was a highlight play touchdown. So,
Yeah, it was an elite play. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you get a guy that can do stuff like that, I feel like that'd really help out.
yeah, because it wasn't like, I mean, it was even a really good pass too. It was everything good on the offensive side. Even it felt like the coverage was pretty decent. It was just one hell of a catch. Like you
Yeah,
can't
and
really.
I feel like he's probably worked a little bit more with Brown. You know how like usually with the backup, they
Hmm.
usually have more rapport with some of the backup receivers. So I feel like that might be like a good thing where, you know,
Well,
if he plays a few more downs, he's probably had a few more reps with Browning.
well,
So
speaking of that, I noticed that Charlie Brown got in a little bit too when Browning was in, and I felt like it had to do with
who?
having more. Or Charlie Jones, sorry, I said Charlie
Mr.
Brown.
Samir Naga, not gonna work here anymore.
Charlie Brown. I wonder what he's up to.
But no, I saw Charlie Jones
Charlie Jones
got in
Yeah.
with Browning, and I think it had a lot to do with like the chemistry, like you said,
Yeah.
with him playing with the twos.
Yeah, I would like to see some Charlie Jones. I mean, we've got like a lot of third round draft picks invested in receivers that don't play. Be nice to see a few snaps from those guys.
Well, what was interesting was, and maybe it was just because the Browns were, or not the Browns, the Jaguars were kicking to Pirine, because it seemed like he had all the returns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, was Charlie Jones hurt, or was he not on kickoff returns anymore?
I don't know. I just assumed they were just kicking away from him because usually they have two backs back or two guys back there, right?
Yeah.
You have one in like if you're gonna have one person back there to block. I mean, Piron's the dude, right?
Yeah, but he had some good returns too, so it didn't look like we lost anything.
I mean, it was like kind of flashbacks to, who's the guy the Eagles used to have? Is it Brian Wilson or something? Either way, he just looked good. He looked like he was a natural kick returner. With this new NFL setup, it might be like perfect for his skill set.
Yeah, because it looked like he was tough to take down because he was moving the pile a little bit.
Well, he's a really strong dude, and you figure he's got like 20 yards to get up to speed.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to see them run a little bit more. Not necessarily rely on it, but just get some positive yardage.
I like running the ball a little bit, but I mean, I don't know that I like running the ball between the tackles with like their offensive line and with the backs they have. I like attacking on the edges. I like to see more tosses, more sweeps, or more just, you know, maybe design screens, or I guess all screens are designed, but like instead of like a check down to the back, maybe some like swing passes instead of running plays. Because I just don't like, I want them to run the ball more, but not like as if, you know, they're the Browns and they've got Nick Chubb to run it between the tackles, right? Like I just don't feel like that's their game.
No, and they don't really have, I guess, the guards to do it either. I think Fairchild has some promise, but
I mean, the point of the run for the Bengals especially is to wear out the defensive line. You want them running around chasing running backs instead of killing your quarterback. So maybe make them run sideline to sideline, you know, attack the edges, just to keep the defense from focusing on the pass rush, right? Just a little bit thing to make them pause to make sure they have to check, right?
Well, I think one of the big things, especially last week, was Chase Brown was getting hit in the backfield consistently, and that's why I was kind of saying, like, was the play calling kind of predictable? It just seemed like the defense like just knew when we were running, because Chase Brown, he didn't have that great of stats as far as like run yards, but I think he had like some crazy statistic where he had like 43 yards after first contact, because most of his contact was actually behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he like rushed for like 40 yards in the game at 43 yards after contact.
Yeah, because it was just like he was getting hit almost immediately. So
yeah,
it kind of goes back to like, this is the problem when you run a lot of shotgun plays. I don't know. I remember Greg Olson. I think I was watching one of the games that he was announcing, and he kind of went into I guess his philosophy on basically why it was important to take snaps under the center, and why it's so much more effective to do play action under center than it is, in shotgun. Because when you do play action under center, or if you're handing off the ball, it's pretty much the same motion. Like, it's really hard to tell if you're actually going to hand it off versus if you're just going to fake hand it off and roll out and pass it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always kind of like a natural stutter from the defense, because they kind of have to react just in case, if it's not a run, right, that they're not going to like give up something, if there's a pass. But it kind of goes back to that. It's just like when you run, essentially, I don't know. I feel like it's like a crazy percentage, like 80% out of shotgun. This is just a guess, but I know it's a lot. Probably,
Right.
It could probably more than that. They hardly ever go under center. But I just feel like if they got back to getting under center a little bit more, just to keep it a little bit more, the defense a little bit more on their toes. But they didn't really build the offense to do that. It's more of a passing attack. If you look at how the offense is built,
Right. I mean, they got those tight ends. They got the elite receivers. The point of the run isn't to gain yards running the ball. The point of the run is to keep the defensive ends from just selling out for pass rush. So running up the middle for 2 yards, I feel like that doesn't do anything. Like, they need to, in my opinion, attack outside, make those guys run a little bit.
yeah, I'm interested to see what their game plan is going into this game. I feel like there is going to be somewhat of a focus to get the run game back on track. I don't think it's going to be like the main point of focus on the offense, but I have a feeling they probably are going to have some, I guess, run heavy packages for the first drive for this game. Because, I mean, that is part of the Vikings' weakness, is it doesn't seem like they have that strong of a defensive line. So hopefully they can expose that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess as far as score, did you have anything in mind?
Well, I was looking at the over-under. I was looking at the games, right? I mean, it says that the Vikings, they beat the Bears 27-24. And then they lost to the Falcons 22-6.
Oh, dang.
I don't know. I feel like the Bengals are gonna. I like them to do better than both of those teams in points. So I'm gonna say the Bengals are probably. I like the Bengals to win like 27-17. I just don't think I'm not on the Wentz wagon. I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I think that the Vikings defensive line, I'm not going to say they're bad, but I feel like they're not going to be as good as the past two teams that the Bengals have played. And I think the Bengals are going to simplify things for the team and just focus on getting the ball to the playmakers as opposed to relying so much on Browning to like carry the team. And I think that that's going to bode well for them. So I like the Bengals to win. I like the 3-0 start. I just think the Bengals are a lot better than the Bears, and if the Bears almost beat the Vikings, I just don't see the Bengals having a problem playing against the Vikings.
Yeah, they're not as strong as what I thought they were going to be. I know going into the year,
high, they say they have the 9th best defense, but I don't know.
It's kind of crazy that they have the 9th best defense, but they lost.
Grayed out really bad.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they grayed out bad, and I guess maybe that goes off of total yardage, possibly.
Who knows?
Or maybe that's, I don't know. That's kind of confusing, but yeah, I mean, they lost to the Viking or not the Vikings, the Falcons. What did you say is 22-3 or something like that?
Yeah, here's the scores. So they lost 22-6 against the Falcons, and then they beat the Bears by 3.
Okay. Well, I will say for sure that the Falcons have a better run game than the Bengals, but I don't know. I know going into the season, I was predicting that the Vikings would win this game. I know they probably have the edge with with Burrow being out and them playing at home, but I don't know. I think there is something to it where, like I said, I feel like because we have a younger defense and it seems like they're starting to ascend a little bit. I think there's also that feeling, like when one of your star player goes down, like Joe Burrow, it kind of causes everyone to lift up their game a little bit because they know they kind of have to overcompensate.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the Bengals are going to win another close one, 27-24. But I don't know. I have a weird feeling that they're going to win. So yeah, I'm going to go with 27-24 Bengals.
It's the best I could come up with on the fly. Thought we had like a growl or something I could play, but no, not so much.
We'll have to add it for next time.
Yeah.
But no, it's it's a weird feeling, especially with Burrow being out pretty much for most of the year, if not the rest of the year. But I do have faith in Browning. I don't think. I mean, this is if there was any situation where Burrow went down, because Browning, this is a big opportunity for him. If he can perform well, then he can have a pretty significant pay raise going into next year. Because if he can get the Bengals to the playoffs, I feel like there's going to be another team that would be willing to pay him a pretty good amount of money to be their starter. So that to me would be the best case scenario for the Bengals, is that he can play to the level. Because it felt like when was it 2 years ago? Yeah. When he had to play, he kind of started off slow, but then he really started to pick it up towards the end of the year. And they almost made the playoffs that year with Browning as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
So, and according to him, he feels like he's a year and a half better than where he was when he had to play that time. So, I think he's going to do better than what most people expect, because I'm sure if you're not like a Bengals fan, you're probably not too familiar with him. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean,
aren't Bengals fans.
Been about a 500, like a game below 500 as a starter for the Bengals. So,
well, I mean, his picks were kind of bad in the last game, because it's like he clearly didn't see the people that got the ball. Because I mean, it wasn't like where he was throwing it like the receivers weren't covered. It was just like there was another guy that just jumped
just
the
a
ball.
guy standing there waiting for the ball.
Yeah, and like, not to say there's like good and bad picks, because all of them were bad, but his picks were like returnable. So some of them was like I think there was one in the second half last game where it was more about controlling the field position, and then he throws that pick, and I think the guy returned it for 40 yards, basically got them in field goal range already.
First rule, don't throw an interception. Second rule, if you're going to throw one, maybe not hit the guy in stride.
Right.
Kind of make him have to dive for it or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I feel like most of his interceptions were returnable.
Right. But the
pretty good yards.
We're discounting here.
Are you still there? Did my internet cut out?
It might have.
Was it mine or was it yours?
I don't know.
Okay. That was weird. But I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying that the Bengals are starting their backup, but so are the Vikings. So,
Yeah, and I don't know how much like stock I should put into the last game I seen Winston, which was last year, week 18, when he was the chief, and they basically played all their backups, and I guess they didn't play any real plays because they got stomped by the Broncos. I think it was like 38 to like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But he looked so slow. It just looked like he could not run. It seemed like he had cement in his feet.
The thing with Wentz was he was like a top pick, right?
Yeah.
And
but he kept on getting hurt.
Lots of teams have tried to make it work with him, and I just don't think, I think he's had a number of like shots where like they tried to make him the number one guy, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's clearly backup level quarterback in the NFL. So it's what I'm trying to say is you've got two backups playing against each other. So it's not like one team's playing a starting quarterback and the other one's playing a backup. I think the quarterback thing is a bit of a wash.
Yeah, and I do feel like it probably would have been better if the Bengals played McCarthy rather than Wentz, just because of experience. And I feel like,
yeah, see, I'm not going to say that because I mean, I think Wentz is what he is, whereas McCarthy, maybe he's better. Maybe he just is going through the rookie thing and will get better.
I'm hearing that his injury wasn't as bad as what they said it was, and it was more or less let him sit to kind of develop a little bit more, because everything felt like seemed like it was going like too fast for him. Like he wasn't seeing everything. So I think, or at least from what I've seen, even from like some Vikings fans, is that, maybe he's not ready to be a starter right now.
Yeah.
So that, because it seemed like he was throwing a lot of picks, or he was having a lot of issues. But then again, I think he only played one game though, because he got hurt in the first week.
I'm just saying that I don't think Carson Wentz is particularly known for taking care of the ball.
No.
I mean, it's not like he's like, better. I think it's like, I just.
No, I think the Vikings were really hoping that McCarthy would be, playing at the level where he got picked at.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem like
there's a little bit of hubris there. I mean, they did let what's his face leave?
TJ, who's your mama?
Cousins?
Not Cousins.
The guy that went to Seahawks?
Yeah.
Darnold.
Yeah. Sam Darnold. They let him go. So it's like one of those things where they got Darnold in. He played better than expected. So maybe they're like, oh, yeah, we can do this with Carson Wentz too. And, I don't think it's the same thing as taking someone from the Jets and then playing better, taking someone from the Eagles and then they play better. You know what I mean?
I think if they didn't draft McCarthy so high, they probably would have actually re-signed him. But it's just like when you draft a quarterback that high, they're kind of expected to play sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, knowing what they know now.
The coach, if you're drafting someone, what was a McCarthy pick? Like, definitely top 10, but was he like 4 or 5 or 9?
I thought he was like the 12th pick.
Yeah.
No, I think that was Bo Nix. We'll just say he was a top 10 pick. That feels about right.
Yeah. Point being that I think the head coach was involved in saying, yeah, this guy's good. So you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like it's the guy the coach wanted, right? Or at least said he wanted. So I think they're kind of stuck with him. So I agree with you. But I just seen enough of Carson Wentz. I don't think he's. I mean, he might have the Mike White game, but we have Mike White now.
I was gonna say you can't because we got Mike White.
I know, but you never know, right? I mean, I feel
but the Vikings got Ritter.
Yeah, well, we signed their backup. They signed our backup. So, like, tell us all the plays.
I don't know, like, how much is. Because did Ritter actually learn all the actual plays? I don't think he did.
We learned some of them, but it's not like we signed their starter either. I mean, they signed Clifford.
Yeah,
right?
but he only played during training camp.
Mike White was. Who was the backup there? Was it Clifford or White?
For the Vikings.
Yeah, the Bengals signed.
I think it was Clifford.
Okay. They probably don't know a ton of the plays, but that's kind of the game, right? They're just like, okay, well, we'll sign their backup. He'll help our scout team.
Yeah, because I want to say like they're especially in spring training, they're installing like all like baseline packages. They're not really getting into like game plans and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure he learned
There's
a little bit.
something, but yeah, I agree with you. It's probably not like, like someone who is intimately aware of it, because it's not like Ritter was with the Bengals for a long time.
Right.
And I
Now,
don't
if
think-
Browning went back to the Vikings or whatever, that would be a little
Yeah.
bit different.
Right. That's what, someone who's been on the team for a while would probably make a bigger difference. But
And actually played during the season too.
either way, both teams did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship to that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was because the Bengals I think they have 3 quarterbacks. No, I was gonna say they had 3 quarterbacks on
I think
the
they have
practice
3
squad.
backups.
Well,
Because they have Browning. They elevated a guy I never heard of to be the backup. And then on the practice squad.
oh yeah,
have
Rippon.
like
Okay, that's
him.
right. Okay, I was thinking he was still on the practice squad, but no, you're right. They elevated him. So yeah,
Yeah.
so they have 2 on the practice squad and then 2 on the roster.
Yeah. I don't know if that. I don't know if that's a good thing for Browning. They're like,
Yeah.
we
Well,
better
I
load
guess-
up.
Well, I think it's kind of smart. I mean, I think part of it is I think they know they have enough talent to get by. As far as like offensive weapons, offensive
Well, I
line
mean,
definitely needs to play a little bit better.
Browning can go 500. They're 2-0. That might be good enough to get a wild card.
Oh yeah. I mean, if he goes, I don't know, 6-5 or 5-6, they'll be close enough for when Burrow comes back, or if he can come back,
Mm-hmm.
to potentially get that playoff spot. But I feel like if he were to come back, it'd be closer to like the playoffs. Because most of the stuff I read was that the 3 months is like, that's a very optimistic. Because I think in terms of like pro athletes, and to be fair, none of them, I think, in the study were quarterbacks, but I think the fastest they said that someone came back from that to actually perform at like a professional level was like 4.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the study was also like 3 or 4 years ago. So maybe some of the stuff is outdated, and I feel like there is something that, as far as like a brace that he could put in his shoe or whatever you want to call it, I'm sure there's things that you could do to help it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just like, if he's coming back, then that would mean that the Bengals are either in the playoffs or have playoff contention. So it's like,
Yeah, I don't.
if that's the case,
I mean,
then why would you sit Browning to play someone that's
Well,
still
that's what I mean. Like, if
recovering?
he's playing good enough to be in the playoffs, then like, why would you rush him back?
Exactly.
And
So
it's like,
that,
do
that's
you
why I
really
think
want- do you
the
really want him to go from being hurt to playing like playoff games against like elite defenses. Like you go from, because there's like a build up, I feel like, for the NFL season. Like, don't you feel like the teams that make the playoffs, by the time it gets to the playoffs, they're playing much better than like they would have been playing like week 2 or 3, right?
yeah.
Like the year builds.
Yeah, that's why it's like, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure the Bills are going to be this year's favorite wire to wire, but I just feel like when you start that hot early in the season, it's really hard to maintain throughout the year. To whereas like the Bengals, it's like we're 2-0, but it doesn't feel like it. like everyone should be ecstatic
It
right
doesn't
now.
feel like it because they're starting quarterbacks out for the year.
Right, but at the same time, like the offense hasn't really been playing to what we know they can.
Yeah,
They definitely had moments
if
throughout each
Burrow
game.
wasn't hurt, I'd be feeling amazing right now.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. But I feel like for the Bengals, this is a really good scenario for them because I think they have a quarterback that can be a starter in the league, and he has every reason to perform really well because he does well and someone wants to make him a starter, I mean, that's at least $30 million a year, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a fair amount. Well, I don't know. It's at least 30. I think like lower end starters don't make 30.
I think that's a slightly above average starter is like 30, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you put him what in like the Sam Darnold category, Sam Darnold and Geno Smith category.
Yeah, I don't know if Geno Smith is making that much.
I think he's making more than Sam Darnold because that was the deal. Like the Seahawks were like, "Yeah, we'll just use Sam Darnold because he's cheaper."
Oh, okay. He's got a $40 million cap hit, but hold on.
Who?
Geno Smith. It was a 2-year, $75 million. Okay, so he's making $37 million a year.
Yeah. I would say like Sam Darnold would be a good comp because he like had one good year.
Yeah, he's 33 a year.
Yeah, so you're right, 30-something million dollar raise, right?
Yeah, I'd say he's about 30.
So
I could see him doing like a 1 year or maybe a 2-year average 30 million a year type deal. Kind of like a prove it deal. But it should be a significant pay increase. Either way you look at it. Even if you made 15 a year.
He's playing for big bucks.
And he's like, if you would want to be on any team, I mean, the Bengals is probably top 5. I know the offensive line could probably be a little bit better, but in terms of weapons, like, I don't think any other team has as many weapons as the Bengals.
5-yard slant and just watch Jamar Chase run 95 yards down the field and be like, yeah, I did that.
Keep doing it.
Just throw it up in the air and watch T. Higgins catch it and then push 3 defenders down on the ground and walk into the end zone and be like, yeah, that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah, on that T. Higgins play where he broke free for that touchdown, I saw this crazy screenshot. And because like when he broke free and knocked basically knocked both of them down. Like one guy was basically doing a handstand or headstand. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. And then like Tinsley's catch too, right? That was another touchdown by Browning.
Tinsley's going to be interesting because he's the one. Because I think what's going to happen, it'll be like I'm assuming like a Jake Browning situation where we can probably keep him pretty cheap for the next couple of years. Like let him play, and then he might be a good trade candidate down the road. Or you try to keep him and then trade Burton. So they might
trade Burton for,
huh?
What are you gonna trade Burton for?
Probably for another draft pick.
What, 7th round pick?
Anything you can get for him at this point, right?
I don't think he's got any value whatsoever.
Well, okay. So the funny thing is, if you remember Burton, his rookie year, he had a really good preseason. And then nothing ever really came about it because, he was having some, I guess, maturity issues.
I mean, regardless of all that, I just feel like there's no trade. Nobody's going to give you anything for him in trade.
Well, no, not right now.
Is he even active? Has he even been active this year?
So far, no. But I mean, it's still a long season. All he needs is like 2 or 3 games to really show like if he can be an explosive playmaker. Because usually when he catches the ball, it's usually for 40 or 30 yards. That's just because they'll throw him in and they'll try to get that mismatch.
I've moved on and given up. I think you just take the L there and move on.
I just think for whatever reason, the Bengals just know how to scout receivers. Because it just seems like
fair, but like nobody's 100%, and I feel like you take the L on this one.
Well, no, but I guess my point is I don't think because I think Tinsley shocked a lot of people. I don't think they expected him to be this good, and he basically pushed Burton to be the inactive person.
Yeah,
but I also think if you play him enough, he can show you what he can do. Yeah, I think there will be a time, especially in the season, as because people are going to get hurt. he'll have an opportunity to play a few games here and there. And if he, like I said, if he can show some explosiveness, then I think there could be some trade value.
Okay.
Either him or Tinsley. I mean, however you want to cut it, they're going to get.
Why you want to trade people? Like, if they're good, why would we trade them?
Well, you could only have so many good receivers. This is assuming if we continue to keep T and Chase the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes, they're under contract, so the Bengals will keep them.
I hope, but that's
And Bengals
not a
traditionally
guarantee.
have never really gotten out of contracts like that. They usually just ride it out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful they do that, but I guess it's a good problem to have. I mean, you can never have too many playmaking wide receivers. So, and the Bengals have.
Well, I mean, I feel like they're playing 2 playmaking wide receivers right now. Like, let's get Tinsley in the game more.
Yeah, because he's definitely going to have a lot of mismatches. If he's like the third option, he's going to be going against our third or sometimes fourth best cornerback. So he should win a lot of those matchups.
Right. I just, with Gesicki and who's the other guy we have?
Fant?
And Noah Fant. Like, I feel like you have your red zone targets. So for me, I'd rather play Tinsley in the slot, or at least get him closer to 30% of the snaps at least, right? I think he only played like 1 or 2 snaps in that game.
No, and the only pass he had thrown to him, he made the most of it.
Right. So that's what I want. But either way, I think I'm feel good about the victory. So that means we're gonna get smoked, because usually when I'm confident, I'm wrong.
Well, I can see it. I don't know. It just feels like we're going to be in a lot of close games this year, kind of like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we're on the winning side. Feels like the luck that we have this year we didn't have last year. So, and I think part of it is just it seems like the defense is way more opportunistic so far this year. So hopefully they can keep that trend up and continue getting 2 interceptions at least a game.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, maybe go for 3 this time.
Let's get that 3rd one. Maybe even the 4th one.
Yeah.
But we'll start with 3. 3 picks, 3 sacks. All right. Well, is there anything you want to add to the game, or you want to close it out now?
I think I'm good.
All righty. Peace.